Before we begin this podcast, please be advised that the following episode contains language that some listeners may find offensive and inappropriate. The opinions expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not reflect the views of the podcast producers. Listener discretion is advised.
What was your life like in 2017 leading up to the murder?
It was kind of, I was so high it's hard for me to remember that far back. But I was struggling. I was going through hard times. One thing that was really hard for me was finding a job.
Yeah.
And
Were you single?
I was looking around. No, I was with my wife.
And so in one of these stories, it says your Johnson's ex-wife called the police. Was that a different ex-wife?
No, that was the same wife. We're still married.
Okay.
So I don't know why it says ex-wife.
Yeah, because it's the news.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever been divorced?
No.
Why do you think the news would say that?
I don't know. That you got one on me.
Yeah.
I would figure they would have picked up on it, but I guess they haven't.
How was your relationship with your wife at that time of the murder?
It was really shaky. We were struggling with the housing that we were in, so we was having difficulties seeing eye to eye. So
Yeah.
it was a big struggle.
So is it true that she called the police on you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you guilty of killing someone?
Yes.
In the last episode, we heard about James's long history with marijuana and meth. It affected his schooling and then his family. His relationship with his wife was on rocky ground, and his hopes of becoming a father crushed by the state. The year leading up to the murder was no different. Increased drug use, poor living conditions, and financial hardships added to their issues. The ongoing stress made it nearly impossible for him and his wife to see eye to eye, and the tension and instability set the stage for a breaking point that was rapidly approaching. It was in this fragile environment that Darren Kirk found himself caught in the crossfire. As the stress and paranoia escalated, any perceived threat felt amplified, setting the stage for the explosive violence that was to come.
This victim, Darren Kirk, how did you know him?
He was my best friend.
Your best friend?
Yes.
Best friend.
Yeah, he was like my best friend. I could talk to him about anything and everything, and he would be there for me to be able. He'd be my shoulder to cry on.
Sure. Well, this best friend, how long? Since kids? Since high school? Streets?
Streets.
Okay. Was your friendship developed around using drugs?
No, it was based off of the hospital. I was part of the Truman program. Which required me to go to the hospital, take classes.
Gotcha. Not to know exactly what happened, but what would make you kill your best friend?
He said that he was going to drug and rape my wife.
Okay.
And
okay. Well,
I was so high.
Hold on a second. It's basically, it's a revenge killing. Is that safe to say? Or a defense to your wife killing? Or do you think she was in imminent danger?
To my wife.
What's that?
A defense to my wife.
Do you think that your best friend would have done that for sure if you wouldn't have killed him?
I think he would have if I didn't take his life.
So this is your best friend. He's the person that you can talk to and things like that. You thought that he really would do that?
He had me arrested on false pretenses, and that was what he said that he was going to do in order for him to be able to get to my wife.
Why do you think he would say something like that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
So did you not think, okay, this is somebody I've been knowing for a really long time. He's saying something it's pretty scary. So just so I protect my wife as well and not go to prison, I'm going to go ahead and call the police and let them handle it. Why didn't you do that?
That thought never crossed my mind.
Did you have something personal against your friend where you wanted to? Did you have something personal against him where you wanted to handle it yourself?
Yeah, I did.
What was that?
He was trying to hook my wife up with his friend.
Ah, yeah, that hurts. And now look where you're at, though.
Yeah, I know.
And you got a dead best friend. How does it feel now?
It sucks. It hurts really bad. I think about it every day.
So let me
I
ask.
wish I could go back and change it.
I bet you do.
On Christmas Eve 2017, Darren made a life-altering threat. He threatened to drug and rape James's wife, and if stopped, he would get James arrested. Up until this point, Darren was someone James had considered a best friend, someone he could turn to in a time of need. So how did they get to a point where one was dead and the other behind bars? According to the media, Darren was homeless at the time, staying with James and his wife temporarily. With an already strained marriage, were the threats on James's wife truly the final straw? In the interview, James mentions that Darren had attempted to set his wife up with another man. The details of this we can't confirm, but it brings up an alternative history that paints a different image of their relationship, certainly not an image of best friends. So this begs the question, was this truly a case of James defending his wife, or was the final threat of drugging her the linchpin that made him snap? We'll find out more after the break.
Let me ask you this, James. Did you hear about all this kind of stuff days up to the murder and it had been eating at you for a long time, or did you hear about it then and handled it then?
I heard about it then, and then I handled it then.
So before that, hearing about it, there was no other things that your best friend did that pissed you off that had to do with your wife?
Besides him trying to hook my wife up with his friend, no, there wasn't nothing.
Well, that's something there. Him trying to hook your best friend trying to hook your wife up with another dude is definitely a thing that happened in the past. So now this is the second thing he's done, basically.
Yes.
And where were you when you got the news of this?
I was at the house. I was in the house.
Who told you
I
about?
got a hold of me and
Who's
told
she?
me that
Who's she?
JC, my wife.
Okay, so your wife told you?
Yeah, she told me that because our relationship was so rocky that she needed time away and that she needed time to figure out what she wanted to do.
Was she basically trying to tell? Was she telling you in a roundabout way she wanted to go be with other guys?
Yeah.
How did you take to that?
I didn't take it very well. I didn't take it very well at all.
Did that that really hype you up and made you feel a certain way?
Yes, it did.
Does that still haunt you now, that certain way?
Yes, it does.
How many years later?
6 years later.
It's painful.
Every day.
So on top of your friend trying to get your wife with some other guy, your wife is also having a bumpy relationship where she wants to go and be with somebody else as well. Where's your friend at whenever you're getting to this moment of excitement of hearing this? Where's he at? Is he right there listening to it?
He was right there listening to it.
Did you basically turn to him and say, what the F are you doing? Why are you trying to do this? Or did you run after him? What was your next move? Just the next.
Yeah, that was exactly what I said. I asked him, what the hell are you fucking doing? This is fucking bullshit. You know,
what was his reaction?
He acted like he didn't know what to say or what to do. He kept saying he was going to make it better. He was going to change it.
So
he was going to try to get my wife.
So were you, let me ask you this. How tall are you?
I'm about 5'9", 5'10".
And how much you weigh then?
About 145.
And your friend that you're arguing with, how tall is he?
6'2", 6'3".
How big is he?
About 278 pounds, 280.
So
I'm just guessing.
So he's a big guy, and in your mind, you're so pissed you want to be able to do something to him. Did you feel like the only way you could do that was with a weapon?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt.
How far was this weapon away from you?
Huh?
How far was the weapon away from you when you were arguing with him?
It was within close. It was pretty close.
Yeah. Did you threaten him whenever you were yelling at him, like, I'll kill you and all this kind of stuff?
No.
At what point did it turn sour then?
I kept trying to talk to him and tell him how wrong he done, how wrong he was, and how bad he hurt me. And I guess I beat him too many times.
So at what point did you grab the bat?
You don't remember?
You just saw red, didn't you?
Yeah.
You went tunnel vision and killed the guy.
Yeah. Plus I was on meth too, smoking meth too, which doesn't help anything.
Fueled with the idea of losing his own wife, James was in a state of panic. Could the thought of his best friend's betrayal and the loss of his wife culminate in the events of that night? And was James's state of mind at the time the reason for his downfall? According to James, however, Darren's actions went beyond mere threats. He had tried to introduce his wife to other men. In a state of heightened emotions and clouded judgment, their long-standing friendship crumbled in a single violent night. The result? A best friend dead, a family destroyed, and James left to face the consequences of an act he wishes every day he could undo. Who was at fault here? Was James's perception of the events heightened due to his state of mind, or did Darren's threats put a target on his back? On the next episode of Voices of a Killer, we find out the truth of what happened between James and Darren that fateful night. If you want to find out what happens next, right now, you can sign up at patreon.com/voicesofakiller. There you can find bonus content, early access, ad-free listening, and access to our chat community. So go to patreon.com/voicesofakiller to sign up now. Your support is what keeps us passionate about bringing these stories to you. That's a wrap on this episode of Voices of a Killer. A big shout out to Sonic Futures, who handled the production, audio editing, music licensing, and promotion of this podcast. If you want to hear more episodes like this one, make sure to visit our website at voicesofakiller.com. There you can find previous episodes, transcripts, and additional information about the podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Your feedback helps us improve and reach new listeners. Thank you for your support, and we can't wait to share more stories with you in the future. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Toby, and we'll see you next time on Voices of a Killer.